In the 1980s and the early 1990s, the outbreak of HIV and AIDS swept across the United States and the rest of the world. Though the disease originated decades earlier and is thought to have originated in Central Africa as it jumped from chimpanzees to humans, the first documented case in the United States was a gay man from San Francisco, California, who was found with a rare and unusually aggressive cancer linked with weakened immunity. The CDC began to see more reports of immune deficiency issues, and the media quickly picked up on it. The CDC reported that almost all cases seemed to be young homosexual men, and panic began to set in. People began to see AIDS as a disease for homosexuals, and prejudices and stereotypes quickly developed. Nearly 4 years after the first case, in 1984, the science of AIDS began to be better understood, and the CDC finally tried to correct their mistakes, claiming that heterosexual men did not only tend to get the disease. Misconceptions still lingered, but gay groups took the scrutiny as an opportunity to advocate for more rights. In 1998, former Dr. Andrew Wakefield released a 12-patient study investigating if there was a causal link between the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine and autism developing in younger children. Although his study did not claim causation, media networks in the United Kingdom quickly picked up on the story, and a large-scale anti-vaccine movement started in Western Europe. The former doctor used the fact that there was not very much information on autism as a way to manipulate the emotions of parents with developmentally challenged children. As time went on, universities, doctors, and research teams failed to recreate the results of the study that highly encouraged the idea that vaccines caused autism in younger children. As more tests failed, more questions were raised, and after intensive investigations, it was found out that Andrew Wakefield falsified his tests to help support a class action lawsuit. The class action lawsuit targeted the government and vaccine companies and would have made the former doctor a millionaire. Even after being exposed, people still chose to not get their children vaccinated, and as a result, there were multiple measles outbreaks in the United States, the United Kingdom, and Japan. Now is the time where I will explain how the novel I read, The Doctor Who of the Worlds, connects with Give Me Liberty. As noted before, the MMR, anti-vaccine movement, and AIDS epidemic were both health-related issues. The novel I read delves into the investigation done by British investigative journalist Brian Deer, who eventually exposed Andrew Wakefield for what he was doing. Our textbook, Give Me Liberty, has a section on the AIDS epidemic, and it has a few sentences about how the time multiple companies tried to make vaccines and medicines for AIDS. Upon cross-referencing my novel and other sources, I came to the realization that the author of The Doctor Who of the World also did an investigation on the companies who were trying to manufacture medicine for AIDS. The Doctor Who of the World states, "Then I remembered the lesson of an investigation I'd done in the late 1990s into the world's first AIDS vaccine, AIDS-Vax. In his AIDS investigation, Brian Deer found that the companies were taking private deals from the government to pretend that medicine was working. They were testing it on innocent people in New Zealand, and the people in New Zealand had no idea what was going on. In both situations, someone was being paid to pretend like they knew what they were doing was the truth, when in reality, both the AIDS epidemic and the anti-vaccine movement with the MMR vaccine were both large shams in order to make as much money as possible. When looking at how close each of these issues occurred in relativity to time with each other, it should come as no surprise that both the United States and United Kingdom had the AIDS epidemic and anti-vaccine movement at almost the same time. The anti-vaccine movement tends to get swept under the rug, however, because the AIDS epidemic was the main focus of the United States at the time. Both of these events did lead to a general sense of distrust with hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, and the healthcare system in the United States, which still lasts to this day. Each event also led to changes in policy within the U.S., which related to drug testing, government funding, and the healthcare system. In the end, both events piggybacked off each other when social reform was being made. The late 20th century was a time in which many minorities fought for the rights, specifically gay rights, and the rights of many disabled Americans. Following the aftermath of these health epidemics, the American Disabilities Act was passed, as well as the right for gay Americans to form legal marriages.